Hello and welcome everybody to Pod Strickland Live. We'll call it Pod Strickland Live. That's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna make it official. Look at that. There we go. Um, we're gonna talk about a little report that Shams Charania put out this morning regarding Giannis Antetokounmpo's future in Milwaukee and his potential desire, or I guess current desire, to go to the New York Knicks. Um, to come to the New York Knicks, I should say. And but yeah, we're gonna do a bunch of that. Just to let you know, this is brought to you by FanDuel, our sponsor. So thank you to FanDuel for sponsoring the show. Um, I want to get into just kind of the some of the details of this in the piece. Shams he discusses how the Bucks went about they obviously had a very eventful summer. They waive and stretch Damian Lillard and make a deal to sign Miles Turner outright in free agency. Apparently, this was done without Giannis's approval or consultation before making the move. I think there's probably some generous wording here. I would assume that they knew Miles Turner was a player that Giannis would be happy to play with, happy to see them acquire. But yeah, it does seem that they did not. They didn't get his stamp of approval before making that sequence of moves. Um, so that I thought was interesting, and more than that, obviously the big bombshell is that Giannis apparently was quite interested in going to the New York Knicks. In the piece, it says several teams were discussed internally, but one emerged as the only place, by the way, Antetokounmpo wanted to play outside of New York, or sorry, outside of Milwaukee, the New York Knicks. Multiple sources with direct knowledge of the situation told ESPN. The Bucks picked up the Knicks' call on Antetokounmpo and size, engaged in conversations for a window of time in August, which we'll get back to. League sources said, but the teams never got any traction on a deal. The Bucks insisted to the Knicks they preferred not to move Antetokounmpo, but those in Milwaukee believe New York did not make a strong enough offer to continue even discussing a trade. League sources said it's unclear how the Bucks would have responded to an all-out chase by the Knicks. The multi-week process was described by one source with direct knowledge that talks as an exclusive negotiating window. New York, for its part, believed the Bucks were never serious about entertaining an Antetokounmpo trade. That all makes sense to me. What I find interesting is these conversations did not happen until August. And why I find that interesting is Mikal Bridges' extension was agreed to on July 31st and I believe signed on August 1st. Window of time in August can mean many things. We don't know if that started on August 1st. Did it start on August 12th? Who the fuck knows? I just think that part is interesting because I don't know that there's no construct of a trade that is feasible for New York after that point because Mikal cannot be traded until January 31st, I believe now, or maybe February 1st, depending on when the exact date he signed was. But, the only trade that was feasible that could have worked for New York would have been a trade straight up Cat for Giannis and whatever. Yeah, maybe the Knicks throw in whatever other draft capital they have and so on and so forth. They don't have much, by the way. My feeling, and I talked about this kind of earlier in the summer when there was starting to be smoke about, maybe Giannis is going to ask. I mean, that was like all happening through the playoffs up to into the finals. And after the finals, we were hearing that smoke. My feeling was, and I said it multiple times, like I didn't think there was any chance in hell the Bucks were trading him this summer. Or I at least, I don't know if I said no chance in hell, but I thought it was very unlikely they were going to trade him this offseason. And I thought Giannis would also not be aggressive about asking out this offseason. And the reason I thought that was if he asked out now, I'm unsure that I'm not of the belief that it would have worked out well for him in the sense that he has less leverage when there are 2 years left on his contract. And with 2 years left on his contract, if it becomes known that Giannis is actively looking to get out of Milwaukee, then it becomes quite how do I put it? It opens up things for the league because there are more teams that are going to be willing to put assets and picks and a variety of things on the trade market and make it available in trade for Giannis if there are 2 years left on his contract. That changes when there's 1 year left on his contract. And he has an extension, which I forget. I want to pull it up. It's in the piece. He can sign an extension at the end of the offseason, next year, October 1st, 2026, he'll be eligible for a 4-year, $275 million maximum extension. The leverage he gains by waiting until next offseason is he can just say, I'm not going to extend with any team but the Knicks. Now, we know that in NBA history that it has occurred that teams will still trade for the player and try to call them on their bluff. So it's still possible, but that would be his leverage. And I always thought that was his best chance of forcing his way to the Knicks and for the Knicks to acquire him. The Knicks at that point in time, again, if they wait until August 20 or October 1st, I don't think it would matter. The Knicks know that he will sign an extension if they trade for him. But if they wait until the draft next year, they could agree in principle to a deal that would involve their pick in 2026 because the Knicks do control their draft pick in 2026. They can just pick whoever the Bucks want. That they would open up the 2033 pick that they could throw into trades next offseason. And then they have pick swaps in 2030 and 2032. They can throw in seconds, whatever. They will have some, assets they can throw in. And the salaries at that point, you can figure out how you want to go about it. Again, cap straight up would still work. You would have combinations of players that you could do, be it Cal, Hart, whatever. There are a lot of things you can do. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of that, but draft pick wise and whatever wise, it opens up a lot. And I think the mechanics are a lot cleaner then. And as I said, I always thought the reality was that he was not going to move this offseason because, again, 2 years left on their deal. A lot more teams are going to be aggressive about trading for you. And if you're trying to get to a specific place, which, whatever, if you want to say Shams is making it up, go for it. I don't really know what he would be making this up for. If anything, this feels like it came out from Giannis's camp. Because I don't know what the motivation for the Knicks or the Bucks to put this out there would be. If you have a specific destination you want to get to, your best chance to get there is waiting until the point in time where you have the most leverage to do it. So those are my long thoughts. The other thoughts are this. I think no Knicks fan should be that worried about trading for Giannis throughout the course of this offseason or this season. Sorry. It's not going to happen during the season. The mechanics are too insane. There's no way that's going to happen. Milwaukee also did not waive and stretch Dame and sign Miles Turner to then not even play it out for a year, which was why, as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, Giannis isn't going anywhere this year. So the Knicks are going to be really good. The Knicks are contenders. They have a chance to win a championship without Giannis this year. It's a real thing that could happen. And ultimately, it sounds somewhat insane to say, but I think it's worth saying, the Knicks are going to be contenders without Giannis this year. They'll probably remain contenders without Giannis if they don't trade for Giannis next year. Giannis needs to get to a situation that, one, he wants to be in, and two, that allows him to contend. I'm not saying the Knicks shouldn't be motivated to go get Giannis because you can argue that Giannis will be the best player in their franchise's history. in terms of just his overall stature in the game. I don't even think it's. I'm not even saying it's an argument. I think he would be in that sense. But you, they have a little bit more leverage here than I think it seems, in the sense of if they're really good, and they are going to be really good, and they should be contenders, and like I said, they have a chance to win a championship. So who knows? Maybe in a year we're sitting here and it's like, well, we didn't need Giannis anyway because we are defending champs. That would be an awesome conversation to have. But like, you have to, the goal, if you're any trade they make, but it doesn't really matter. But any trade they make, whatever you're giving up has to be worth less to you in terms of trying to win a championship now than what you're getting. So getting Giannis is great. It's awesome. It's wonderful. If you have to give up, or if they're saying, if they just won't budge, right? Let's say you have, and it's like, well, we're happy to trade Giannis to you, but we need OG, we need Mikal, we need Mitchell Robinson, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like some combination of things that is just not to the point where you're like, well, how are we even rounding out this roster? And how is this team? What is this team's championship ceiling? You don't need to be at that level of desperation if you're the Knicks, no matter how bad you want Giannis. And I think that's something that needs to be considered in all of this as well. Drew, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. If it's a little loud or anything like that, just let me know. I am in the garden, obviously, but outside.
Nice.
As I'm doing this. When I got the rumor, I was just kind of like, cool, right? I was just like, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't. I don't think it matters as much because you already mentioned it. Like I was looking through, like how would the trade even work this year? It really wouldn't, right? It's very specific how it would function. It's like it's not worth it. They're not. No one's going to do it. The Bucks aren't doing it. The Knicks aren't going to do it. It would be next off season. And then I'm like, okay, so I actually did go through the player combinations as like a thought exercise to kind of determine like how would this even work or make sense. So like Cat and like Kolek or Cat and Pecone, salary wise work, right? Like it's like okay, that would be great, but like I don't think the Bucks are going to do that. Um, there's OG and Mitch would work. I think if Mitch is extended, like
Yeah,
just
the
because
Mitch
of like
the Mitch extension thing, it gets tricky because
right,
they would need to be under the second apron, and so Mitch would have to agree to an extension that keeps them under the second apron. Then they would have to execute the trade under the second apron, and then they would have to
yes,
go about filling out the roster after that.
yeah. So like
Because they basically cannot hard cap themselves at the second apron
yeah.
if they were to go about it doing it that way. Which is why I did
Yeah.
not want to talk about it. Like I didn't want to get into that too much.
No,
But
I
yeah,
apologize, but like I was just
no. It's fine that you did it because I hadn't actually sat down and done it, so I didn't want to like I had like
no,
thought
like
it through. Yeah, but I hadn't
no,
done the
I
like
I
the mechanics.
no, I did. Like I thought it through and I saw that and I'd be like, okay, so like in a vacuum, like Mitch and OG for the Knicks would probably be the best bet, right? Because you're putting Cat and Towns in the front, and you're like perfect. Again, like are the Bucks really just going to want like OG and Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson and whatever picks? I mean, probably not. And then then that gets start getting into all right. You need McHale, you need Hart, you need more players, and then you're like, well, how are you going to fill out the roster? Kind of like you said, like it gets to that point, and I think as great as Giannis is, and he would be, like you said, like the Knicks could win the title this year. They don't really necessarily quote unquote need Giannis. Giannis would be fantastic with Brunson. It would be the best,
Yeah, I'd be
right? It'd
pretty.
be the
I
best,
would
like
be quite happy to
yeah,
get
like
Giannis.
me too. I'm not gonna lie, it would be the best like guard center pairing the Knicks have had right since like Clyde, Clyde and Reed, right? Like we're talking like Knicks heyday, and it would be you could even go in the '90s. It would be like finally the player like Patrick Ewing needed to be paired up with or something like that, right? Like oh, finally they have the two guys that would work. But like, of course, Giannis would want to come to New York because like that actually probably is his best chance of winning, and also like probably where he would want to be in terms of he just seems like someone who would just want to be in like New York because he's been in Milwaukee so long. Like, and he's always in Europe. He's traveling. He loves Athens and his thing. Like, I figured he would rather be in like New York or rather than like OKC, who probably has like the best pick package that you can get him. But like, okay, like I don't know if he really wants to go there. So like, New York made it made sense to me that Giannis wants to come to New York, right? Like, I don't think that's like a lie or anything along those lines. It makes sense because he would be paired up with Brunson, basically like who we thought Lillard was going to be for Milwaukee, but Lillard turned out to be more washed than at least I anticipated. So like Giannis would finally get that point guard he would want to play with, and the team would be fucking incredible, and it would be great to watch. And I would love to see Giannis at MSG. But I also know that like I don't really think they, need him, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's like a need. It's not like a Melo situation where they're like, oh my god, we're desperate for a star. Let's give them everything. It's like they're already kind of like in the contention window, and then like their two biggest rivals are Celtics and Indiana at this point. Like their two best players are like coming off Achilles injuries, so like the Knicks have like a nice little window for themselves. I don't think they need to rush it. They just accept the best deal that they can get. Like I would do like Towns and like one of the like a rookie or something like that, right? Like that would be great. Or I would do OG and Mitch, but that's significantly harder to do. But like I don't think the Bucks would want to do that, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm totally fine if like he doesn't want to be. It was just interesting that it came out this time because I think it only helps Giannis out. It doesn't really matter. Like the Knicks didn't say anything, Milwaukee didn't say anything, so I think it was just like, oh, okay, let's get like some buzz out, start the season. I
Yeah.
think that's really all it was.
I mean, I think it's intentional from Giannis. Like, I think it
Yeah,
behooves him to have it out there that he only wants New York. And, for him going into the season with that out there doesn't really, it's kind of odd to say this. There's not really much pressure on Giannis because that team's fucking sucks.
yeah,
Like, they're a bad team.
yeah.
So it's, it's whatever it is. I want to get to some comments here first. Thank you for the super chat from Huck Frazier, who's asking the real hard-hitting questions here. Is Brogdon a quitter Mamba? Adding another team you can quit on, increasing quit total and percentage. You surpass Donovan, renowned playoff quit specialist. I have no answer for this question, but I appreciate the question. Thank you very much,
That's
Huck
a good question.
Frazier. Your contributions are always valued,
The
and
quitter Mamba.
the quitter Mamba. We will get back to you. I will get back to you on the increased quit total and percentage. You deserve a precise answer on that.
Yeah, you need a precise one.
This is from Kenny Meir, who says, "Whoever, sorry, I want to pull that up. Whenever the Bucks decide to move Giannis, they will try to force that team to take the Kuzma deal for sure." I agree with this. That's kind of like the hidden cost of probably not even the cost, but the hidden. Yeah, I mean it's not hidden. I mean it's very going to be fucking loud and in your face because that contract sucks. But that will be the additional cost they have to take on to get Giannis. So, like, let's say the deal that they want, they're like, all right, we'll do it if you give us Cat and Mikal, right? That you might look at that and be like, well, how would the money work? And it'll be like, don't worry, the money will work because we will be taking on Kyle Kuzma's shit fucking contract. That's how it'll work. So I agree. That's probably what will happen if and when Giannis is traded. Will the Knicks eat the Kuzma deal? Would they want to be like, hey, we don't want this deal so badly that we need to find a third team to reroute this to? We'll see. I mean, a trade of this magnitude, considering the financial constraints, the situation the Knicks are in, some of the stuff the Bucks have going on, it will likely require the participation of a third team anyway if it were to happen. And honestly, it'll probably require the participation of a third team if Giannis gets traded anywhere, wherever he gets traded. It would probably require the participation of a third team. So that I fully agree with this. Let me go back to the top here. I think this is a pretty good. It's from John Leary. Hypothetically, if you moved OG and Cat for Giannis, there's a chance you're actually a worse team. No? Yeah, I think there's a very good chance. And I think that there's basically no scenario where they would trade both Cat and OG. And I will say this. My gut instinct is they would want to build a trade around some combination of Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart or Mitchell Robinson. And the reason I think that is I think Karl Anthony Towns would, if they're getting Giannis, I think he would decline the final year of his contract and then agree to an extension kicking in that year at a much reduced number from his current salary levels. Kind of like what Gobert did with the Timberwolves last offseason. And I do think that, like, look, man, people can say whatever they want. There's no evidence to me that Giannis wants to play center full time.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not going to play center full time, you need a center who can shoot fucking threes. And Karl Anthony Towns, to my knowledge, shoots threes quite well. So, in theory, not even in theory, just I guess I'm on the I don't know if it's not really an island. I wouldn't say it's an island. It's I have the minority opinion that if they were to trade for Giannis, they will want to keep Karl Anthony Towns because Giannis needs a center who can shoot threes. This has been a case now. I mean, they've not. When was the last time Giannis played with the five who can't shoot? When did they sign Brook Lopez? When the year they won the championship? Or right? Was it that year, or the year before, whatever?
I'll double check, but it's been a while since Giannis has.
I think it was the year before. I think it was It was maybe the year before, a couple years before. But like, whenever they signed Brook, from then they've had Brook. They added Portis, who, whoever is the five on defense. The idea is you want to play him in a front court with guys that next to a guy that can shoot the ball. Portis fits that bill. And then obviously they moved on from Brook Lopez this offseason, but they brought in Miles Turner. Like, end of the day, I just don't see any evidence that Giannis wants to play center or evidence that Giannis next to a center who doesn't shoot the ball is a viable construct that you want to pursue.
I have the players last time Giannis played with a non-shooting center. It was back in 2017-18.
It's like Larry Sanders.
Their centers were John Henson, Don Maker, Greg Monroe, Marshall Plumlee, and Tyler Zeller.
Right. So then I remember that. So then they hired Budenholzer after that year, and Budenholzer's like, all right, we need a center who can shoot the ball.
Yes, and then the next finals with Budenholzer as the coach, and then they signed. Is that Brook Lopez? Yeah. Then they brought in Brook. So like it was very clearly like.
Yeah,
we're not playing.
Yeah, it was the right, like they made the Eastern Conference Finals the year they signed Brook.
Yeah.
They were up 2-0 in that series against Toronto. The next year they actually go out in the first round of the bubble, which is, who cares, the bubble, and then they win the championship the following year.
Yes.
So like it matches up. Like he needs to play next to a center, but that center needs to be able to shoot. I also think it's worth mentioning Giannis is obviously fantastic. I still think he is a good defender. I do not think he is a great defender anymore, and I don't think he has he's older, man. He's like 31, 32. Like, I don't think he has the ability to give you everything he gives you offensively and max out on defense. And look, if you want to just get into like what are the concerns with Giannis? He is a downhill steamrolling big who is deep into his 30s, has a lot of mileage, and has been increasingly injury prone over the last few years. Has not shown any ability to shoot the ball from the perimeter. And it's cool that he like has a nice mid-range game now, but I'm talking about like actual big boy perimeter shooting. Can't do it. And you brought up the stuff with Dame. Like, I think it's worth noting that even when him and Dame were healthy, they did not play off of each other that well. They did not have, some of the parts did not match what it should have been. And I think that isn't just on Giannis. I think there's stuff that some of that is on coaching. Some of that is on him. Some of that is on the fact that the surrounding pieces suck. And some of that is on Dame too. But like, it is a reality. The reality is that when those two were on the court together over 2 seasons, it wasn't what you thought it was going to be when you saw it on paper. And if we are trying to do another, if we're trying to be like, well, this pairing is going to work, I do think it's worth mentioning. Just like that one didn't, and I do think Brunson has a longer track record of being a guy who is capable and willing to play off ball and is actually really, really good at it than Dame ever did. But it is worth mentioning that because I do think that it would be like, we're going into this season and we're talking about like, all right, Mike Brown's going to get Jalen Brunson off the ball more, and that's awesome. And like, and even then we're just kind of like, it's going to be a big adjustment for Brunson. Like, it's going to be quite an adjustment early in the season. And like, you want to compare that adjustment to, okay, we got Giannis. Like, it's a much bigger adjustment. That is a massive, massive adjustment. And I don't think that it should just be dismissed just because on paper you're like, oh, dominant big, oh, elite point guard, like also who's also a top 10 player. Like, this is a championship combination. I think it should be a championship combination, but I also think it's a little bit more complex than that. Because I think that teams just have a lot more. Like, I think the caliber of how good your supporting pieces have to be now are significantly higher than they were in the past, when you could just be like, oh, we have Shaq and Kobe. Like, now we're the best team in the NBA for the next fucking 3 years. Like, it's harder than that now. The supporting pieces matter a lot. And also, I think, again, there was stuff with Giannis and Dame that wasn't what you thought it would be. And there could be some of those things that occurred in the same way with in a potential combination with Brunson.
No, it's absolutely fair to say. I think looking at like the question itself, I do like the question that John has. They are probably worse in that, and I think it would make sense for Giannis the most to play with Towns as well, because if he's just playing with, like, say they do like the Towns for Giannis swap and that's the trade, Giannis is the 5. He's the full time center at that point. Like, they're not getting anyone else to play center because I don't think that would happen. That would help him. I would say that would help him in his career wise for Giannis. I would say, because he doesn't have to like move as much like laterally on the perimeter. On defense, he can just kind of like stay home. But he may not want that. He may pull the who's
The
what's
AD
name? Who
card.
doesn't want it? Huh?
AD.
Yeah, the AD card, right? Yeah, exactly. Where it's just like,
I'm not a center.
It's like,
I'm not a center.
it's like,
I'm a
yeah,
4.
yeah, you are. It's like you
Yeah,
are.
you
You're
are
a
a center, buddy. I just don't think he wants to do it. I mean, there's no evidence of it. Like, I don't know what it is. There's none. Like, he does it very, very sparingly in very, very hyper specific situations. Never
Mm-hmm.
as like a consistent, this is part of our rotation every single night type of thing. So um Chris Bernard says, if Giannis basically forces his way here, does the whole I'm not playing here again and I won't go anywhere else, the least they could offer be Cat and Hart in terms of financial terms. I mean, they would have to offer Hart in the sense that if they're gonna foist Kuzma on us, then you have to put Hart in there. So yeah, I mean, that is the least for sure. We just talked about why I don't think they would trade Cat, and that kind of makes it all trickier. John Leary asked, did the Knicks kick themselves from a Cal trade because there were a lot of assets that went? Seeing a lot of Knicks fans on Twitter annoyed by this.
I don't think so. Why would they kick themselves? They're already in title contention right now. Anyone else who's saying that they're annoyed on a Twitter just wants to be angry for the sake of being angry.
The reason why I think this is a relatively pointless discussion is, one, you would have had to have the force. I mean, it wasn't like, it didn't require a lot of foresight to be like, at some point, Giannis is probably going to ask out, right? But
Yeah.
you were coming off of a season where I think it's reasonable to believe that, hey, man, if we had just been healthy, we could have made a finals, maybe even won it. Team was so beat up, whatever. But that team wasn't going to be the same no matter what anyway, right? In terms of, we knew Hartenstein, he was a flight risk. Obviously, he goes. And, then you had the Julius Randle thing where it was like, apparently he had some crippling marijuana addiction going on at that time.
Don't we all, Julius? Don't we?
Yeah.
Don't we all?
Yeah, and apparently, like, he was a miserable person, and I guess the Knicks were hesitant to get into any extension talks with him, so you had that whole situation going. I just think it's like, like sure, maybe they're better positioned. The other part of this is like I don't really know that picks in 2025 or 2027 or even 2029 we're going to be that much of a needle mover if Milwaukee is trading you fucking Giannis. Like, this is the point. Like, those picks aren't going to be good. Look at the pick they gave up this year. This was like the best pick. They got the 19th pick. Do you think they give a shit about like if they're like projecting it as like, all right, they have Brunson, they have Giannis, whatever the rest of the team looks like, we're probably staring at like best end scenarios of like the 20th pick every one of these drafts.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. I get why people put a high premium on these picks. I don't see much evidence that NBA teams see it the same way. And I don't know. I just really, really struggle with this because I personally do not feel that picks are going to be the make and break for a team that is they don't control their draft picks right now. So like getting a bunch of picks from another team, they're trading Giannis to who are going to be good, and then being bad wouldn't serve much motivation. Which is why I think they'll probably want players back. But maybe it's like, hey, you have to find a way to get a couple of our picks back from Portland or New Orleans or whatever, these teams that own their draft capital. And, you know, how would you go about getting those picks? Probably hope that those teams want your good players or something like that. Like, I just don't buy the argument that giving up the picks for Mikal is you can draw a direct line between that and the Knicks not making a serious offer or whatever that means this summer. I think the reason they didn't make a serious offer this summer is because they knew the Bucks weren't going to trade him. Like and also it makes no sense for them to table a serious offer if you think that. Like if you think that Milwaukee, who has just waived and stretched Dame and signed Miles Turner to make this huge gambit and try and retool the team on the fly to build a contender on Giannis, they're going to want to see that play out at least a little bit. I wouldn't want to table an offer and then have that potentially leak out. I wouldn't want that if I'm New York. But like they're not stupid. Like I think there's a reason why they at least gave themselves a little bit of wiggle room with this Mikal Bridges extension, where there's like a 5-day gap between when he becomes trade eligible again and the trade deadline. Like I don't think they're dumb. I think they did that for a reason. So they're like so that they have that option or in the potential world where everything goes sideways for Milwaukee this season and they're like, fuck it, let's just pull the plug now, where you can still table an offer, build an offer for Giannis. Like I think that was real. But personally, again, I don't think any trade for him, regardless of where he goes, is happening until next offseason.
Also, if the Knicks are doing really well by the trade deadline too, right? Like, are they really going to blow up the team like that for Giannis? It would only make sense for them if, like, oh shit, we're like a middling 500 team. Okay, maybe we need to recalibrate. But like, if the Knicks are projected to where they're supposed to be, they're not making any large scale moves that's going to shake up the roster that much, especially at the trade deadline. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah, I agree. Hayase Eel says, realistically, the only teams with the assets are NY and OKC, unless Silver does a little Laker magic and somehow Giannis is traded around a Bronny package. Yeah. OKC's just he's not going to OKC. This was like always been my thing with this. Like we can just fucking be serious about this. Giannis has won a championship, right? He's already done the most important, significant thing you can do in your career. He wants to continue to contend, sure. I will believe that a star player demands or wants to go to fucking Oklahoma City or fucking San Antonio or one of these fucking teams over like a good Lakers team, a good Knicks team, a good Boston team, a good big market team. Like I'll believe that when I see it, man. Like the only time this has happened is when like LaMarcus Aldridge signed with the Spurs, and that's specifically because the Lakers were a fucking shit show at that time. That was like that was the reason. Like they were a shit show. Why did you want to go there? You're not going to compete, and they sucked, and they were run by morons. Like there's no reason for him to go there. Like the history of the NBA tells you things. If Kevin Durant he just wanted to win no matter what, he wouldn't have like demanded to go to, like he literally made sure that he would not go to Minnesota, right? He made
Yeah.
sure, like no way I'm going to Minnesota, basically, and got to Houston, which is it's like a flashier market, right? And that's the history of the league, man. These guys, they might not go to exactly where they want to go, but they're sure as hell not going to go to some fucking place they don't want to go. Like that
Mm-hmm.
never happens. And if it does happen, it usually goes poorly for the team that acquires that player. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I will, all these fucking dream fairy tales I see of like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if Giannis and Wemby were on the same team? It's like, yeah, maybe when the NBA moves to all-star format of World versus Europe, you'll get that. You'll get to see
Yeah,
that.
or like when San Antonio moves down to like Mexico City, right? Then it's like, oh, okay. Then I'll see it happen.
But once we annex Mexico, anyway.
Yes, of course. They're not.
And then he can do that. Now the best is like, oh, Giannis will want to go to Toronto because Masai Ujiri one time in the draft tried to trade up for him
Yeah,
and didn't.
no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I'll tell you
No,
right now, he's not going. He's not going to Canada. I'll tell you that right now.
Nobody's going to Canada, other than RJ Barrett. Peter also trading Cat after just one tip season would not be great when it comes to the front office images for players. I don't think that would be a huge problem. They traded. I mean, I guess obviously Cat's a much bigger figure around the league, but like, they traded Dante after a year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's that huge of a deal, especially because you're not just trading Cat to like trade Cat. You'd be getting Giannis.
Yeah. This is it's a little different when we're talking about one of the best players ever versus just like, oh, they're just going to trade Cat because he wasn't fit or whatever. It's like, well, that seems a little early.
Yeah, like if they traded Cat for like, we just want like 3 good depth pieces back or something, like then yeah, I think that would be like a bad look for them. But trading him for Giannis, you just be like, okay, yeah, cool. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so you traded Julius and Dante in a first round pick for Giannis. That sounds pretty good. Kenny Bridges signing before the date where he couldn't be traded during season felt intentional. So does Mitch not signing. It's unlikely something happens during the year, but New York wants flexibility. Yeah, no, he did sign. He signed that he can be traded again. It's like a 5-day gap between when he can be signed, between when he
I
can be
think
traded
it's
and not.
February 10th, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it's something like that.
It's I think it's the 6th. Somebody can double check.
It's like early. Yes, it was very intentional.
So I think he can be traded from like February 1st to February 6th. But either way, I'm not losing much sleep over this. I don't think it's happening in the season. And if it does happen, I'll be like, I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, cool, that was great. Let's see. He also says this. Kenny Irwin says, when talking his intentions, Giannis already won a ring by dropping 50 in a finals closeout game. He wants to contend, but in my opinion, winning isn't all that matters. He probably wants to win in a big market now. Yeah, I think he wants to win in a big market, and he's talked about, like, I think, I don't know if he's said it directly, but I think he's been pretty transparent that his legacy and how he's kind of like remembered in the sport matters to him. And like, I'll say it again. I've said it many times. Like, I think whoever is the guy who is seen to have been the key figure in bringing a title to New York, or multiple figures that can be, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of mileage out of that for the rest of your fucking life. Like, yeah, really, you will.
Look at Clyde.
Yeah, Clyde's out here shitting on the city of Philadelphia and their basketball team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's just, it's wonderful. Like, Clyde's been doing it. Every Yankee from the '90s is doing it. Like, it's a legitimate legacy. It's something serious. When like, because Giannis already did the impossible, right? He brought a title to Milwaukee. Like, what was the last time that was like Kareem, right? Like, he's already like, he's kind of done the impossible. So like, in terms of legacy, like, what's the best type of legacy you can cement? And it would be like bringing New York a title again. Like, that's like the big. I think that's the big one, right? In terms of people to like really define legacy. It's like who wins in New York? Like, whoever wins whoever wins the NBA Finals in New York, it's going to be
like, if you bring a title to the Nets, like, people are really going to remember that. Just like if you bring a title to the Clippers, everybody's going to remember that.
Everyone's going to remember that.
Yeah, that's why the Clippers aspire to so much.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Chris Burner, it feels like the wording of this kind of translates to Giannis wants to be a Knick. Maybe I'm delusional, however, it feels like that's the conclusion. I mean, I don't really know how else to read it other than that. I mean,
That's how I read it. He wants to be in New York, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
this is literally what it says.
It says I
Ever
want to
ever
be
since
in
the
New York.
NBA draft, yeah, ever since the NBA draft combine in mid-May, Alex Saratzis, an Octagon managing director and Antetokounmpo's U.S.-based representative, has fielded rampant interest in Antetokounmpo and conducted serious due diligence on best possible outside fits should the star and his reps push to be traded from the Bucks. Several teams were discussed internally, but one emerged as the only place Antetokounmpo wanted to play outside of Milwaukee, the New York Knicks. Multiple sources with direct knowledge of the situation told ESPN. I don't know how else to read it other than that. So I concur with your assessment, Chris. Melo PTSD hitting. Yeah, if Melo was fucking 25% of the player
yeah,
of Giannis, it might be that. Shout out to him though, the Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer Carmelo Anthony.
Yep, Hall of Famer should go in as a Nugget.
I hope he does.
Trying to get to whatever comments here. Live reaction to the Honest article and asking this question is good. That was in reaction to Huck Frazier's amazing question on Malcolm Brogdon.
It's true. It's a great question.
Here he says, Mikal Hart, this is from Huck Frazier, Mikal Hart, Mitch, and Pac works for Giannis and GTJ. Well, Gary Trent Jr. can't be traded right now. Just, I know that's not what you're saying. But yeah, that could work in February. But the problem is, and again, this is the stuff that is like extremely boring. And I'll say this. Maybe this is why they have been very, very adamant about or we've heard a lot of reports about they would want to be able to add a third veteran minimum contract midseason, because if you do the math in this trade, 4 players out, 2 in, the Knicks would be short 1 roster spot to fill out. Then you have to have 14 guys on a team. You can only be without 14 for 10 days, I believe. So if you did this trade,
baby.
So if you did this trade, they could sign your boy Garrison Matthews at some point after this trade to fill out the roster and be whole. So good detective work there, Paul. Your incredible ability to think outside the box continues to pay dividends. Kenny Mir also says, I also think it's pretty obvious Bridges and OG will be easier to trade to a third team than Cat. Every good team can use and want a really good wing. Agreed, Cat would stay. That's a great point also. Like, I love Cat, but like Cat is definitely, I mean, just the salary alone makes him like a weirder player to trade, and his value becomes a lot more nebulous because of that. OG and Mikal are kind of like most any team. Basically they would play for basically any team. They would be in the rotation for every single team in the league, and they're clean fits because they're wings, which, it's the easiest position to just like slide in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to answer that question. Giannis and Neo Petiter says Giannis and Mitch even with no spacing. I'm salivating. All the offensive rebounds, that's for sure.
There'd be a lot of rebounding. That's definitely it. But it's going to be a clogged paint. I'll say that.
Clogged paint could be the name of a podcast.
That would be. I like that. The clogged paint.
Yeah. Kenny Mir asks us, if Giannis became a Knick, what part of his game would annoy you? Free throw routine, any 3-pointer he takes instead of going to the rim. JB, it's when he refuses to take threes. Every player has something. I would probably say that I think it's like some of his. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really love watching him play. Like, I don't think Giannis is like a fun player to watch play. But I would say, like, I think there are times where he's just like really, really not desperate, but like he is on a mission to get to the free throw line. Like Brunson does this too. Brunson does it in a different way than Giannis, obviously. But yeah, probably the actual thing is the 3-pointer thing. He's a terrible 3-point shooter. Like I don't know what else to say. Like he's god awful at it, and every time he takes a three, it's a massive win for the other team. And also because he's become a much better passer. You know, he's able to make passes even with his back to the basket now. His floor mapping has just improved so much. Like it's ridiculous anytime he takes a three now. It's just totally absurd, and like it's the biggest win for the defense ever, except against the Knicks, because I feel like he shoots 40% from three against the Knicks and 20% from against three threes against everybody else.
The free throw routine, not that like having to hear 1, 2, 3, like every time he's at the foul line would drive me insane.
It would not be fun.
Like it would just drive like every away game. It's going to be that even in the regular season, and it would just fundamentally annoy me because I'm just like, can do these fans have nothing else better to do? He's not getting the 10-second call, right? Like he's not getting it. Like
they haven't called it on him in like years at this point.
Yeah, like it's
they,
not.
They did like they did when people first started doing it a couple times, but not anymore.
Yeah, then they realized, oh, this is annoying, and we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. Hayase says, I'm totally fine with the team we have. Let's not go Yankee fan insane and look on to the next big fish. I don't know, brother. That might be the Mets fans nowadays.
That's Mets fans. What are you talking about? They're all like, oh, Juan Soto. We took Juan Soto from the Yankees. Yeah. How'd that work out for the Mets, huh? How's their playoffs going?
Yeah, look at us. We're 0-2 against the Jays. And those games have been right down to the wire. Trust me.
Hey, man, I'll tell you this. I'd rather be in the playoffs than not in the playoffs. Because that means I had a successful season.
Yeah, it's better to get your balls kicked in the playoffs than before the playoffs.
That is correct. Imagine taking all that money
just
to go over the Flushings and to be with a loser team and a loser organization and to do nothing. Like,
not gonna lie,
it's impressive.
I would probably rather be in Flushing than the Bronx, though.
I will also concur because I agree.
As far as the comment, I agree. I'd
much rather be in Citi Field than in New Yankee Stadium.
New Yankee Stadium fucking sucks. It's fucking awful. I agree with this. I look again. The honest thing, you can just revisit it after the season. Mm-hmm. Like it's not really a thing that's going to happen in season in all likelihood. And the team we have is really good. Like they can win the championship this year. You know, I don't know what to say really other than that. So I think that's 100% accurate. So I'm with that. I don't really have anything else on this. Here we go. Omar's got a fucking question. Look at this guy.
Oh, great.
Here we go. Nice to see you, Omar. Which package would you gotta give up for Giannis? OG Mikal or Cat Mitch? Oh man, that's brutal.
It's like it's like the worst combinations.
Yeah, I think this is intentional. I think it has to be Cat Mitch, right? Because even if I don't want to play Giannis at the 5, if I still have OG and Mikal, I think I can get back a 5 that I would be fine with probably playing next time. I don't know. Or maybe I'm at that point I'm just like, Giannis, deal with it, bro. You're the 5. Just
I rather give up the both bigs to bring in a big versus giving up 2 wings for an extra big.
Yeah, I would not. I don't know how happy Giannis would be, but I'll also be like, I'm sorry, you're dealing with this right now. Like you have to deal with this. You wanted to come here, right?
You hope that you just got to be like, look, you got to play. It's either you're the 5 or you're playing next to Ariel Huck-Porty. Your choice. Your choice.
This is actually hilarious. Giannis 33 for 99 on threes against the Knicks lifetime. Second most made threes, and that's first with 37.
Of course.
So he's shooting. What is his career? What does he shoot from 3 for his career? Fucking like 26%.
Let me look up. But him shooting, what's that? 33%.
Yeah, it's exactly 33%.
That's amazing.
What a joke. It's actually 33.3 repeating.
Giannis for his career is 28.4% from 3.
what is that, like one standard deviation above
Something,
just
I think it's
average?
something like that. Yeah, of course, it's like the one. It's not even like a percentage. It's like one standard deviation above average. It's
Yeah.
like, of course.
Real nerd hours happening on this
Hmm.
live stream right now. Yeah, it would have to be that, but dude, that team would just be really funny to be like, all right, man, so you're the 5 now. Have fun with that, even though you've
I'm
never
sorry.
wanted to do this in your life.
Yeah, have fun at
Um,
it.
yeah. All right. I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything?
No.
Cool. All right. Well, we just wanted to do this. Thank you to everybody that joined us. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you to our sponsor, FanDuel. And we will see
Thanks, guys.
everybody. We have the pod. Yeah, we have the pod coming out on Friday. We'll have that out for you.
Hmm.
So until then, everybody enjoy the rest of your week and peace.